And we are back. It is Wednesday the 3rd of April. It's just gone 9 a.m. Just come back off a 12k run. But in today's video, I'm going to do a full day of eating, which is slightly different because obviously at the moment I am training for endurance-based events whilst also trying to obviously maintain the muscle mass that I have. So food is different to how it has been in the past. I see food now as fuel rather than either a necessity to put weight on or a necessity to lose body weight. Currently fluctuating body weight between 81.5 to 82 kilos, dependent on sort of the intake the day before. Obviously, again, body weight can change a lot through to timing of meal the night before, hydration levels, if you've been to the toilet, stress, sleep, all of that. So that's where we're fluctuating. But today, the calories I'm set. So protein and calories are my number one and two, and then the rest, carbohydrates and fats, I'm a little bit more lenient with. So how I work it out at the moment, I actually try to drop body weight purely down to the fact that I find that when I am around about 80 kilos, I perform a little bit better. So I've got about a kilo and a bit to come off. So what I tend to do with that is I will have my maintenance calories at 2,500, and then I will look to consume 80% of the calories I've burnt in that day. So using today's example, I've done a 12k run, which according to my Garmin was 1,000 calories, and then I've got a swim this afternoon, which in the past and normally is about 250 calories. So 80% of 1,250 is going to be 1,000. Yeah. So we're looking at around about 3,500, probably a little bit less. Just again, because I just want to make sure that we are seeing scale weight come down. So about 3,300 for today, and we're going to start with meal one. Okay, so meal one, we've got some electrolytes, purely down hydration post run. I've got a decaf coffee, just A, for the taste, and B, I'd stay away from caffeine, A, after strenuous exercise because I want my heart rate to come down, and caffeine will cause a spike in heart rate. And also, caffeine with a meal, I want my body to be in a relaxed state to digest my food properly. Whereas if I then put a stimulant in my body, such as caffeine, that may lead to digestive issues and whatnot. So if you've had a coffee before and you notice that you need the toilet like 20 to 30 minutes after, that's probably the case, because like I say, caffeine is a stimulant, and can cause your gut to contract and speed up the toilet process. So that's the drinks. In terms of meal one, we've got 2 slices of sourdough, 4 whole eggs, and then a little bit of cheese. Fairly light, around I think 665 calories for this first meal, but post-run, protein, good carbohydrate source, some fats as well. I shall eat this now. It's currently 9:15, and then my next meal will be at around about probably 11:30. But for now, I'm going to enjoy this, watch a bit of YouTube whilst I eat it. Most of the stuff I watch on YouTube is just training related, nutrition related. It's nothing too exciting, so watch something on here, and then 9:30 head onto my desk, crack on with work block number one. Okay, so the time is just gone 10:15, and I wanted to talk about, well, basically I'm just about to have a coffee. It's my first coffee of the day. Now, caffeine, coffee, or whatever drink you enjoy, I've had built up a big tolerance to it. So caffeine, like anything as a human, we build a tolerance up to it. So the amount of caffeine you need to get the effects that you used to get only will increase. So for a lot of people, they can have 4 or 5 coffees a day and not really feel it because they've built up such a high tolerance. Now, caffeine, it doesn't get rid of your tiredness. It just sort of gets rid of the symptoms. And what people will do is they'll rely on caffeine to see themselves through the day, and then we'll notice a big crash sort of in the middle of the afternoon where they'll then probably have another coffee, and there we know that caffeine can have a half-life of 4 to 6 hours. So if you're having caffeine after sort of 3-4 p.m, it's really going to affect your sleep. It's really going to prevent you from having a adequate amount of sleep and quality of sleep. So it's something to think about. Now, I use it as a tool. I recently did a week off caffeine, which was all right. I just had decafs, but now I just want to use it as a tool. So I'll now only really consume 1, maximum 2 caffeinated drinks per day. And if I am, they're always before 1 p.m. Okay, so it's currently just gone 10:15. You know, my first coffee, I'm using that as I'm going into my second work block. So caffeine can help with increasing focus, increasing productivity. So I'm going to use that now as a little bit of a help me get through the work block, help me be more productive, high levels of work. And that's probably going to be pretty much done for the day. So use caffeine as a tool, not as a necessity. If you are someone that relies a lot on caffeine to get through the day, maybe evaluate your sleep, your nutrition, your training, because that's probably more of a deeper route than just masking it with caffeine every couple of hours. So there we are, coffee. Then by around about 11:30 will be meal 2, and that will be pre-workout for this afternoon swim. And we're back. So we're here with meal 2, which is pre-swim. So we're going with 70 grams of oats, organic oats. Any particular reason? More so, I just find that these digest a little bit better than your standard oats, but Quaker oats are pretty decent. With this, all it's going to be a case of is some hot water, which I'll just pour over, like so. There we are. Leave it to soak for a little bit, and then wait for that. Stir, and then from there it will be whey protein, pretty standard, pardon the pun. Does the job. 24 grams of protein, sits nicely on the stomach. I'm trying to get some form of protein with each meal, so this works well. And then the only other thing I will add to this meal, because I'm not training for about an hour and a half, is some dark chocolate. So just some 75% dark chocolate. A, for a bit of taste, bit of extra fats. Obviously dark chocolate contains antioxidants also, which is great. But yeah, more so for the taste and easy calories. I'm not really a massive eater, so getting like 3,200 to 3,300 calories in can be a little bit of a, I have to look and actually really think about it. So adding like a square of dark chocolate does the job and works nicely. I shall also put a little bit of salt on top, a bit of pink Himalayan salt, and that's just again to ensure for hydration, because the last thing I want to be doing is swimming and cramping up in my feet, which has happened before. So there we have it. This is meal 2, which doesn't look the nicest, but it does the job. The macros calories for this are 540 calories in total, and protein is 30 grams with this meal. 23 from the whey protein, and then 7 grams for the oats, which I don't really track. Water wise, one thing is key: hydration, especially as I'm doing a lot of sweating. I'm on roughly around about 3 to 4 litres a day, so it's quite a lot. Plenty of trips to the toilet, but I know the importance of hydration, especially with the training that I am doing. So this now we'll leave for swimming in just over an hour, so plenty of time to digest. And then once we're back, be lunch and meal 3 of the day. Okay, that is swim complete. We have done 1,600 meters, which is 64 lengths. Just a caveat to that: if you're doing breaststroke in the fast lane, what are you doing? Like, move. But I digress. Anyway, we have been to Tesco's for a few bits for lunch. So we've got some rice, nice and simple, obviously carbohydrate, which I'll be having half of now. I'll be having as well some fruit, mango, fast acting sugars alongside a Lucozade. Again, plenty of electrolytes, fast-acting carbohydrates, so straight into the system, easy to consume. And then this evening's meal later will be, I'll have dessert, meal 4, will be some Greek yogurt and some granola. Not a lot of granola because, I mean, it's fantastic if you're someone that's trying to get food in, granola, because it is one of the foods that is very low in volume but very dense in calories. So, like, I think something like 60 grams, 45 grams of granola, which is not a lot, believe me, is 220 calories. So like a bowl is probably double that easily. So you can see how that stacks up, especially if you are trying to remain in a deficit. But for lunch now, obviously I'll have the mango and the Lucozade after, but I actually meal prepped and pre-cooked some food yesterday. So in here, we've got some 5% beef mince and some mixed veg and like a chili sauce, half packet of rice, fruit, Lucozade. That will do me nicely. Now I got a little bit hungry, so I did forget to film the first bit, but mince, some rice and some mixed veg. Then got 250 grams of mango and a bottle of Lucozade, which I've almost drank. So I'm going to eat this, get back to doing some work, and then typically my next meal will probably have a little snack in the afternoon. Well, I say afternoon, probably another hour or so, and then dinner time would normally have dinner, tea, whatever you want to call it. That would be normally around about 6 p.m. Just purely down to the fact of I like to give it around 3 hours before I eat. 3 hours before I go to bed. So that's where we're at. Eat the rest of this because, as I said, I am starving. Okay, so we're back. A little snack. 2 hours since the last meal, so it's 4:30. So I've literally just got a slice of sourdough, which I've split in half, and some peanut butter on each. Pretty simple. Like I say, my next meal will be just after 6 o'clock, which will be my sort of final meal. So that'll be a fairly carbohydrate heavy meal. Main reasons for that I like to push a lot of my carbohydrates, or the majority of them around training, pre and post. Hence why I like today after my swim, a fair amount of carbohydrate intake. But then also in the evening meal, because I train first thing, so tomorrow I'll be training legs around about 6:30 in the morning, fasted. So I want to make sure that my glycogen levels are replenished, and I have fuel in my body ready to go. So that's why I like to use carbohydrates late on in the evenings. Plus the benefits, some may say it brings to your sleep with serotonin levels, but I like backloading them purely from a performance standpoint. So today's been a funny one. I'm actually starving. I've been starving all day, so this should go down fairly easily, and then bring on dinner later on. Okay, this is part 1 of the final meal. So we've literally just got 200 grams of chicken, 100 grams of rice. Normally I'd have some veg with this, but I've ran out. So yeah, you're probably also wondering, it is currently 7 o'clock. What are these on my head? So these are called pussy preventers. So they are glasses that I wear in the evenings. They're blue light blockers. So basically 2 hours before bed, I'll put these on, especially if I'm looking at a screen, which I have been. Then this just helps limit blue light, which basically, long story short, blue light can affect your sleep. So I'm trying to do everything I can to maximise my sleep, as it's something I've been focusing on. So this is part 1 of meal 4, last meal, and then some Greek yogurt and granola after this. Okay, the final meal. We've got some 5% Greek yogurt. We've got the granola from earlier, and then we're going to add a little bit of honey on top. One more ingredient, we're going to put some flax seeds on as well. So that is pretty much a full day of eating. I'll have this and then I'll wrap it up. So that wraps up a full day of eating. Pretty much, like I say, most days are slightly different, but we're around that 3,000 to 3,200 mark. Today's been quite a high day in terms of food, just because a 12k run, you get through a fair few calories, and a swim, so anywhere from 3 to 3.4 thousand calories. In terms of the macro breakdown, I've got here 195 grams of protein. Remember, this obviously does include trace amounts of protein. So like sourdough, for example, there's about 5 grams of protein in per slice. Same with oats, so that's why that's slightly higher than normal. Normally I try to get 175 grams, 180 of pure protein from whole foods with a full amino profile. Carbohydrates, we're at 362, and then fats, we are at 79. So according to MyFitnessPal, this is a total of 3,017 calories, which gives me about 250, 300 to sort of play around with. And that's where I've had 3 of these. So I'm roughly tracking these. I'm saying that they're about 70 calories each. So about 210 from that. And that's where we are. That is food done for the day. Pretty much a day of eating. Like I say, plenty of water, plenty of hydration. There is one other thing I will have this evening, and that's a sleep supplement, a drink with different bits in to help with my sleep, and providing I get a deep night's sleep. And that is pretty much it. So yeah, full day of eating, broken it down a little bit. But remember, find foods that you enjoy, foods that are sustainable, and also foods you can digest, because we are all very different. So yeah, that is a full day of eating, and hopefully that gives you some inspiration.